I was working on our son's science fair project while my husband said he was helping a friend move. He came back smelling like perfume. When I asked whose, he said, "You're just insecure." I checked his Google Calendar. He had dinner reservations with a woman saved as dentist. So I dressed up, showed up at the restaurant, and sat at their table. I said, "Do you clean teeth too?" She turned pale. He stuttered. I left the bill with him and walked out with my head high. He moved in with her that week. She left him within a month. I'm a 34-year-old woman from Bloomington, Indiana. I work part-time at a clinic, and the rest of the time I'm a full-time mom to my 10-year-old son, Jacob. My husband, Eric, is 36. Was 36. I don't know what to call him anymore. We met young. Fell in fast. I thought he was it for me. He wasn't perfect. Neither was I. But we built a life. Bought a house. Had a son. We made it work. At least I thought we did. About a month ago, Jacob came home with a science fair assignment. Build a model of the solar system. Light it up. Make it spin. He was so excited. Eric said he'd help. He even promised. But then Friday rolled around, the night we set aside to work on it, and he said, "Hey, Mark needs help moving. Probably be out late." Mark is a friend of his from work. At the time, I didn't think twice about it. So there I was, Friday night, sitting at the kitchen table covered in glue, foam balls, and tangled wires, trying to figure out how to make Uranus spin without breaking the whole damn model. Jacob was painting Saturn. It was supposed to be a family project. Around midnight, the door opened. Eric came in. He didn't look tired. He looked clean. Too clean. He smelled like perfume. Not soap. Not deodorant. Perfume. It hit me like a punch to the gut. I stood up. "What's that smell?" I asked. He laughed. Actually laughed. Like I was crazy. "Sweat and bad cologne," he said. Grabbed a beer. Sat down like nothing was wrong. I didn't let it go. I said, "No, seriously. You smell like a woman's perfume." He rolled his eyes. "You're just insecure." 3 words. Like a slap. He didn't even look at me when he said it. I didn't sleep that night. He snored next to me like a man with nothing on his conscience. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about every little thing. Every late night. Every sudden work meeting. Every time he got defensive over nothing. Saturday morning, he left to run errands. Left his laptop open. I knew his password. Same one he'd had for years. I clicked. Opened his Google Calendar. Don't ask me why. Call it a gut feeling. And there it was. 7:30 p.m. dinner reservation. Restaurant downtown. Reservation saved under dentist. My heart was beating so loud I could barely see straight. I clicked for more info. Confirmed guest, Jessica. Not Mark. Not moving trucks. Jessica. I sat there for a long time, staring at it. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't insecure. I was right. He was cheating. I thought about confronting him, screaming, packing his stuff, and throwing it onto the lawn. But no, I was going to do this smart. If he wanted to play dirty, fine. I could get dirty too. I spent the day cleaning the house, playing with Jacob, pretending everything was normal. Around 6 p.m., I started getting ready. Pulled out the black dress buried in the back of my closet. The one I wore for our last anniversary. The one he said made me look too good to be real. I curled my hair, put on red lipstick, sprayed on a perfume he hadn't smelled in years, called a cab, made a reservation for one. The cab dropped me off 2 blocks from the restaurant. I didn't want to risk him seeing me too soon. I walked slowly, heels clicking on the sidewalk. My heart was hammering, but I kept walking. I walked into the restaurant like I owned it. The hostess asked, "Reservation?" I smiled. "No, I'll find my friends." I scanned the room. There he was. Corner booth. Laughing. Leaning across the table. Her hand was touching his. He didn't see me at first. I walked up. Jessica's eyes widened. She knew. Eric turned, saw me, and went pale. Like death itself had walked in. I pulled out a chair and sat down. Neither of them said a word. I looked at Jessica. Then Eric. And I said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "Do you clean teeth too?" Jessica's face crumbled. Eric opened his mouth like he was going to speak, but nothing came out. I reached into my purse, pulled out a copy of his reservation, laid it between them. Eric finally stuttered, "It's not what it looks like." I cut him off with a hand. Didn't say another word. I stood up, looked at both of them, smiled, and said, "Bill's on him." Then I walked out. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I didn't look back. I walked out into the cool night air, my heart racing, but my head high. He didn't come home that night. Or the next. When he finally texted, all he said was, "I'm staying somewhere else for a while. Need space." A week later, word got around. He moved in with her. Jessica. But karma's fast in a town like Bloomington. Jessica had a fiancé. A real one. Not some casual date. Her fiancé found out. Left her. Within 3 weeks, Jessica dumped Eric. Said he wasn't worth it. Eric tried to crawl back to me after that. He showed up at the house with gas station flowers. Begging. Saying it was a mistake. Saying it didn't mean anything. I stood there, Jacob peeking out from behind me. I looked Eric dead in the eye. And I said, "You're just insecure." Then I shut the door in his face. The thing about shutting the door on someone like Eric is, they don't take it well. Not really. After that night, he didn't just disappear. He got angry. First it was texts. "I made one mistake. Don't throw away everything over this. You're ruining Jacob's life." Then the calls. At first, I ignored them. Blocked numbers. New numbers. He started showing up at Jacob's school. Not causing a scene, but just being there. Leaning against his truck. Watching. The school secretary called me one afternoon. "Mrs. Hensley? Your husband's been hanging around. Is everything okay?" I lied. Said we were fine. Said it was just a rough patch. I didn't want Jacob dragged into it. But inside, I was boiling. Eric didn't want Jacob. He wanted control. He started pushing for family time. Showing up at the house during dinner. Leaving gifts on the porch. Sometimes I'd find him sitting in his truck at the end of the block, engine running. It got to the point where Jacob noticed. "Why's Dad always here?" he asked one night, setting down his fork. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to badmouth Eric to our son. But I wasn't about to lie either. "He's figuring things out," I said. "And we're giving him space to do that." Jacob nodded. But I could tell he didn't buy it. Then one night, about 3 weeks after the restaurant incident, Eric pushed too far. I had just put Jacob to bed. Lights off. Dishes done. I was sitting on the couch in my pajamas when the doorbell rang. I opened it without thinking. Eric shoved his foot into the doorframe before I could close it. "Let's talk," he said, voice low. "No," I said. He pushed harder. "Let's talk now." Jacob's voice floated down the hallway. "Mom?" Eric heard it too. His face twisted. "This is my house too," he hissed. "No," I said, pushing against the door. "You left. You moved out. You made your choice." He glared at me, breathing heavy. Then, for the first time in our whole marriage, I was scared of him. I slammed the door and locked it, called the police. Hands shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. Eric peeled out in his truck before they showed up. I filed for a protective order the next morning. The papers were served at his job site. In front of everyone. He didn't take it well. Friends we shared for years started picking sides. Some said I was overreacting. Some said Eric was just hurting. But the ones who mattered, the real ones, stood by me. The protective order kept him away, but it didn't erase the damage. Jacob started having nightmares. Started asking hard questions. I put him in counseling. I started going too. I learned that people like Eric don't see betrayal the way normal people do. To him, he was the victim. But I wasn't going to let him drag me down anymore. I found a lawyer. Filed for divorce. Filed for full custody. Eric fought me at first. Tried to claim I was alienating him from Jacob. Tried to smear me. But I had the texts. The witnesses. The police report. He didn't stand a chance. Still, it wasn't easy. Court dates. Lawyers. Money flying out the window. Nights I cried into my pillow, wondering if it was even worth it. It was. Because little by little, I could breathe again. Jacob started smiling more. The house felt lighter. I started remembering who I was before Eric made me feel small. I wasn't insecure. I was strong. And Eric? He was the one who was falling apart. About 2 months after the protective order, just when I thought things were settling down, a letter showed up. Not an email. Not a text. A real letter. Folded, handwritten, sloppy. It was from Jessica. Yeah, Jessica. The same woman who helped blow up my marriage. It started polite. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. Then it got weird. She wasn't apologizing. She was blaming Eric. She said he lied to her too. Said he told her we were separated. Said he made her feel like she was the future and I was the past. She didn't know about Jacob. She didn't know about anything, really. She wanted to meet. Said she had information I would want. At first, I crumpled the letter and tossed it. I didn't owe her anything, but it gnawed at me. What kind of information could she have? Was it worth it? Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop downtown. Middle of the day. Public place. I kept it short. Jessica looked rough. Dark circles under her eyes. Hands trembling around her coffee cup. She leaned in and whispered, "You're not the only one he did this to." She started listing names. Women he met through work. Women he met at the gym. Some while we were dating. Some while we were married. One of them? A neighbor. The sweet woman 3 houses down who used to drop off cookies at Christmas. I sat there numb. Jessica showed me screenshots. Messages. Pictures. Dates. It went back years. Eric wasn't just a one-time cheater. He was a serial liar. A serial betrayer. Jessica said she felt used. Said she lost her fiancé over him. Said she lost her job too because her boss found out about the affair and fired her for embarrassing the office. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not really. She made her choices. But I understood her rage. We were both women he thought he could throw away. Jessica leaned forward and said, "He's still lying to people. Still telling them you went crazy." That hit me harder than I expected. Because even after everything, a part of me wanted to believe Eric regretted it. That he knew he'd screwed up. But no. He was out there playing the victim. Pretending I was unstable. Pretending he was the wounded party. Jessica wasn't done. She said, "If you ever want to really bury him, call me." I didn't know what she meant by that. Didn't want to know, not right then. I thanked her and left. Drove home shaking. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about all the times Eric called me crazy. Insecure. Overdramatic. Kept thinking about all the people he was still lying to. Part of me wanted to be done. Cut him off. Move on. But another part of me, the angry, raw, vengeful part, wanted him to feel what he put me through. Wanted him to see himself the way I saw him now. Small. Pathetic. Alone. I didn't know it yet, but that part of me was about to take over. And once it did, there was no going back. After that meeting with Jessica, I sat on it for a few days. Every day, more texts came from Eric. Begging. Blaming. Threatening. Apologizing. He didn't know I knew more now. He didn't know I was done playing defense. One night, after Jacob was asleep, I picked up the phone and called Jessica. "I'm in," I said. I don't know what I expected. Maybe just a talk. Maybe just a vent. But Jessica had a plan. She told me about a Facebook group she made. A private one, hidden from public search. It was for women Eric had lied to, cheated on, used. She sent me the link. When I joined, I almost dropped my phone. There were 12 women in there. 12. Each one had a story. Each one had screenshots. Each one had been told the same lies. Jessica said she had an idea for all of us to get justice. Not through police. Not through court. Through exposure. We planned it over weeks. While Eric thought I was sitting home crying, we were building something. We gathered everything. Photos. Texts. Voicemails. Even old love letters he'd copied and reused for different women. Then, one Friday morning, we launched it. We made a public Facebook page, The Real Eric Hensley. We posted everything. Screenshots. Photos. Stories. Dates. All lined up, all overlapping. No way for him to lie out of it. We didn't add opinions. No insults. Just the facts. Let people decide for themselves. It exploded. Within hours, it had hundreds of shares. People from town were tagging each other. Old coworkers. Friends. Family members. His boss. His church group. Even his mother. Eric tried to report the page, but it didn't work. Everything posted was real. No harassment. No threats. Just the truth. By Monday, he was fired from his job. By Wednesday, his truck was repossessed. By the end of the month, he was evicted from his little one-bedroom. I found out through mutual friends he moved in with his brother an hour away. Burned every bridge he had left here. It wasn't just the job or the house. It was his reputation. He couldn't show his face anywhere without whispers. He tried to make new dating profiles under fake names. Didn't matter. People knew. Word got around. He was done. And me? For the first time in a long time, I felt powerful. Free. I thought it would feel perfect. But here's the thing they don't tell you about revenge. It never feels clean. It felt good at first. Like standing up after being kicked down too long. But then the guilt crept in. Not for Eric. For Jacob. Because no matter how awful Eric was, he was still Jacob's dad. Jacob deserved better. He didn't deserve the whispers at school. The kids repeating what their parents said. One night Jacob came home crying. Said a kid at school told him, "Your dad's a loser." I sat there on the kitchen floor holding him, feeling like I'd won and lost at the same time. That was my mistake. I thought I could destroy Eric without hurting Jacob too. I couldn't. I told Jacob as much truth as I could in words he could understand. Your dad made mistakes. Grown-up mistakes. But you're not responsible for those mistakes. You're not him. You're you. And you're good. It wasn't enough. But it was all I had. Eric tried to contact me one last time. A letter. Sloppy handwriting. No apology. Just blame. You ruined my life. No, Eric. You ruined your own life. I just made sure everyone saw it. I never wrote back. Never spoke to him again. I focused on Jacob. On healing. On building a life with no lies in it. I still have dark days. Days when the anger eats at me. Days when the sadness weighs too much. But I also have good days. Days when Jacob laughs so hard he falls off the couch. Days when I wake up and remember I am free. Eric is just a shadow now. A lesson I survived. And every time I pass the restaurant where it all started, I smile. Because the woman who walked in that night, she's still standing. And she's never going back.